maybe you've looked at the Roth IRA and you're like, well, that doesn't make sense for my daughter. Maybe that's, well, maybe you haven't done that yet. And you withdraw the funds. The reason why I think it would make sense, especially the earlier you do it, the better, is because if they're still young, their tax bracket is going to be very low. You're going to take out money in a lighter, smaller tax bracket. And if she's working a full-time job and she's making like $10,000 a year, if you just take out 18 grand, and once again, this is not financial advice, guys. If you just take out enough so that she remains in the smallest tax bracket, then it's not that big of a deal. She takes the 10% penalty. It's the smallest penalty that she would take. And then she doesn't have to wait to 65. She doesn't have to wait to 67. She doesn't have to wait till 90 years old to use the money. With the time value of money, she's able to use it right now to probably put towards the best investment that she could do at the time, which is like invest in herself and invest in skills.
And when we say education, we don't necessarily mean college, we mean education, period. Right. This could be a nutritionist certification or a BIM training program or vet tech program that she wants to go into. Or if your child's like, hey, you know what, I'm going to go to this data science boot camp. There's a job guarantee. It's $9,000 and you're going to take it out. You're going to just pay the penalty because that's better than sending them to college.
Or if your child doesn't know what to do, you can come to the launch program as well. Look at our program. We don't accept 529 money. And I know just knowing a lot of people in the skills learning space, a lot of them don't take 529 money either, even though it's some of the most efficient ways to learn skills, learn employable skills. In my mind, assuming that you can have all of these conversations with a 16-year-old, with a 17-year-old, with an 18-year-old, if you're able to have these conversations, you're already thinking about this at 5 years old. So you're going to have 10 years or so, 10 to 11 years to really think about how you want to approach this and how you can educate your daughter to be a good steward of money. And if you think that she is, I think there's a very good argument for biting the bullet here and just saying like, look, you're never going to make as little amount of money as now, so you might as well take the hit now. And whereas let's say that you're older and you're in a much higher tax bracket and you're going to see much less of that money. If you're making a couple $100,000 a year and then you take out the 30 grand, granted, it doesn't really move the needle. Maybe the 30 grand doesn't move the needle as much as a 30 grand would move the needle here, but relative to the amount of money that you would make, that you would get back off that 30 grand, you would get much less if your daughter ends up making a lot more money, because that is going to be taxed at that higher tax rate. She might make only $14,000 with the 10% penalty. She might only make $14,000. Whereas if you take it out in smaller increments while she's lower, and once again, talk to a financial advisor, or it's easy enough to get, like, if your daughter's still on the 1040 easy, which is a tax form for all those listening that don't do your own taxes. If you're still on the 1040 easy, it's simple enough to like look at the tax brackets and just be like, you looking at your pay stubs for this year, you made $10,000. Okay, well then the next tax bracket is over here. Let's just take out whatever amount of money to get you to underneath this. And then we know that that's our exposure on this money. And we're going to have to pay a 10% tax on that. At least we know. And they're going to get more money than if you waited till she was making 200 grand a year. And then she only makes that 40% of it or something like that, or 30% of it. But yeah, that would be the last one here. Only caveat that I was able to find on this is that the penalty is waived if your daughter, Dana, if she receives a scholarship, and the penalty is waived up to the scholarship amount. So that's the scholarship amount, or if you do military service or certain disabilities or death.
So we don't want to worry about the death one, but disabilities and military service are the big ones there for sure.